Welcome to the Natural Health and Healing Show with one of New England's leading nutritionists, Mark Mincola. The show is brought to you by the Good Health Stores in Hanover and Quincy. Call Mark at 781-837-4900 with your health and nutrition questions. Now, here's Mark.
Good evening and welcome. You know, Larry, in the world of publishing, whenever there's a footnote that's from the same source as the previous footnote, you simply say, IBID. So when you do these weather reports during the present months of June and, God forbid, July, can't you just say IBID?
I've never heard that word before.
It's actually not a word.
You just made that up.
It's a reference, actually, but you could say ditto.
I could say today, tomorrow, and furthermore.
Absolutely. Wow. I'm telling you. We're waiting for summer still, and it's almost July. Come on.
Well, we got a taste of it yesterday, so.
I guess we did, and we should be thankful of it. Hopefully we get a couple more days like that. But anyway, it is a classic, bizarre stalling pattern that we're just going to have to deal with, I guess. Nonetheless, we have a very interesting show for you this evening. In just a few moments, we're going to bring in some folks that are very dear friends of mine that have a remarkable mission in life, and I think you're going to find it remarkably interesting. You know, there's so many different ways that we can invoke healing. There's so many ways we can invoke healing, and these are two women who certainly do that very thing, invoke healing in the lives of so many people with a remarkable program that they have, really called WATDjune28 Books.
Hi, this is Laura.
Okay. Wherever that came from. At any rate, we're going to be talking with two lovely ladies who are going to be talking to us this evening about WATDjune28 Books. And it's really a program that is designed to help people find the passion of their life story and to actually tell their life story. And they have some amazing anecdotal stories to share with you this evening about helping people, coaching people to find out exactly who they really are and how to get them to really get in touch with their passion, their mission, the reason for living, and to help people really tell the story of why they're here. It's just a very powerful story, and I think you're going to enjoy that. Until we get on to that, though, in a few moments, a couple things I want to take care of here. I received a very interesting email from a patient, actually. It's an action alert letter, and it goes on real briefly here. It says, last week the FDA issued a warning letter to the company that manufactures an over-the-counter nasal spray for colds called Zicam. Zicam contains zinc gluconate in a 2X solution, which is, of course, indicating that it's has a homeopathic ingredient, has a number of other ingredients as well. And the FDA recently produced a series of Associated Press triggers or stories that are full of fabrications and falsely called into question the safety of homeopathic medicine and homeopathic remedies. And it's just a classic case of more of the same. You know, big pharma, of course, controls the FDA, unfortunately, much of the Congress and the media. You know, there's an awful lot of power brokering that goes on, of course, and I think this is a classic case, again, of the FDA really trying to spread some negative information. And the Associated Press is, of course, very much a part of that whole distortion as well. Among the false claims that was released this past week regarding homeopathic medicines through the Associated Press, number one, they had a false claim that homeopathic remedies are not regulated. They're treated like dietary supplements, so says the Associated Press, and of course that's false. The fact is that homeopathic medications are regulated by the FDA and have been used safely in the United States since before the passage of the Food, Drug, Cosmetic Act of 1938. And homeopathic medicines continue to have an extraordinarily safe record. Number two false claim, the FDA side effect reports suggest homeopathic remedies are a problem for consumers. The fact, of course, is the safety record of homeopathic remedies over the past 200 years is exemplary. A recent study by the American Association of Homeopathic Pharmacists documents their outstanding record. I personally went to that site, which for those who are interested is www.nationalcenterforhomeopathy.org. I found 30 reviewed studies. I found 15 clinical studies. I found 6 meta-analysis and 10 research articles that all backed up the fact that homeopathic medicines are safe, have been for 200 years, and have certainly produced many very positive results in study after study. Number 3 false claim. The National Institute of Health Alternative Medicine Center spent $3.8 million on homeopathic research from the years 2002 through 2007, but is now abandoning studies on homeopathic drugs. That is false, folks. The NCH received this assurance from the National Institute of Health Alternative Medicine Center the 23rd of this month, saying that NCCAM will continue to accept investigator-initiated research grant applications for homeopathy and will continue to consider for funding those that receive outstanding scores in peer review. So many false claims that have unfortunately gone unnoticed by so many folks here because they don't know a lot of what's happening through this obfuscation. Another false claim here is that there was no evidence of effectiveness with homeopathic medicines, says the AP. There are literally hundreds of high-quality basic science, preclinical, clinical studies published in respected journals like Pediatrics, Chest, Rheumatology, The Lancet, and others showing that homeopathic medicines are indeed effective. Again, as I pointed out a minute ago, on the National Center for Homeopathic site, I found 30 peer-reviewed studies, 15 clinical studies, 6 meta-analysis, and 10 research articles, signifying and indicating indeed that homeopathic medicine is clearly effective and is safe for use. So I just wanted to make a few of those notations before we got going this evening because there is a battle that rages on, of course, week by week, day by day, and there are powers to be out there that are looking to obfuscate and steamroll over the reality that alternative medicine is a viable alternative, especially in the case here this evening of homeopathic medicines. But big pharma controls an awful lot of power out there. Don't let it control your mind, America. Make sure that you are on the ball in terms of indicating, in terms of tuning into what's really happening here. Of course, we mentioned H.R. 875, the Food Safety Modernization Act of 2009. It was sponsored by Rosa DeLauro, Democrat from Connecticut, that's essentially trying to, once again, bulldoze your rights. And in this particular H.R. 875 issue, it's just another classic case of power brokering so that you and I wouldn't have the right to purchase organic heirloom products, organic heirloom seeds, organic heirloom produce. And of course, that's because Monsanto is looking to dominate all of the ownership and distribution and control of seeds on planet Earth. And these issues aren't going to go away. We have to occasionally do a little bit of business on this program. I think we owe it to you to let you know about some of these things. On to bigger and better things. In just a few moments, we're going to actually have Naomi Grossman and Deb Feinblum Robb come out here and talk with us again. Life Journey books help you or your loved one tell the story of life well spent. And it's a powerful, powerful story. And it's about communicating your values, giving history to future generations. It's a remarkable, remarkable process, a very powerful healing process for many individuals and families alike. And when we come back from this little short series of messages, we're going to talk with them about Life Journey books. Stay right where you are. Interested in real weight loss? I'd like to recommend a 3-week group weight loss program that combines nutrition with Christine Mealy, hypnosis with Mona Corvallis-Cusick, and personal training with Doug Bennett of the Body Studio. This will begin the week of July 6th and run for 3 weeks. Each week you receive a 2-hour combination of hypnosis and nutrition. That's Tuesday evenings from 6:30 to 8:30. 2 45-minute sessions of personal training. That's Tuesdays and Thursdays. Your choice of mornings or evenings with exercise suggested for that week. You'll also receive a 4th bonus week of personal training, a free 1-month membership to the Body Studio, a free TheraBand, a complimentary 1-hour massage at Santi Holistic Healing for the person who loses the most weight. All of this for only $320. Let us help you reach out and get your goals attained. Space is limited. So call us at Santi to reserve your spot, 781-383-3393. That's 781-383-3393.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health. Did you know that organic foods offer up to 1,000% more vitamins and minerals than non-organic foods? It's true. So this year, make every dollar count. Shop at Good Health Natural Foods in Quincy and Hanover. See us online at goodhealthnaturalfood.com. Remember, for certified organic produce, natural groceries, vitamins, bodybuilding, herbs, homeopathics, and natural cosmetics, it's Good Health Natural. See you soon.
Alrighty, welcome back. And as promised, we have Naomi Grossman and Deb Feinblum-Robb. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you, Mark.
And it's great to have you in. And this is a very special project, actually. You know, when you and I spoke in my office not too many weeks back, I was really captivated by this story, and I couldn't wait to get you in here. So why don't we start with you, Deb, and just explain a little bit about what Life Journey Books is all about.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Life Journey Books is all about helping people come to grips with their own life stories. And the way we do that is we use a lot of exercises and sort of gentle encouragement to get people to share their life stories. And we also help them remember things that they thought they'd forgotten.
Now, there's a lot of folks, of course, out there listening saying, hey, you know, my life doesn't have any fancy stories. What do you mean? Why should I tune into that? What's the importance of that?
Well, you're absolutely right. There are so many hurdles that stop people from telling their life story. And one of them is just like, I'm not very special. I have no interest in anybody else. I'm just like everybody else. And another one is nobody really cares. My kids aren't really interested. My grandkids don't even know I'm alive.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. But, you know, they're on their own thing, and they don't not really interested in what happened in 1937. Another one that always stops people, one of these terrible hurdles that stops people, is that I just don't have time. Or I'm a terrible writer. That's another thing that people tell us. And what we generally do to kind of help people negate these hurdles and sail over these hurdles is we tell them a story. And basically we say to them, what if before she had died, your grandmother had handed you the book of her life? And in that book was everything about her life, her first love and where she used to go swimming in the summer and the kind of holidays her family celebrated and where her family came from. And what is that? Wouldn't you have loved to have had that? And everybody goes, yes.
What greater story could there ever be?
Exactly.
Right.
It's such a part of you.
Absolutely.
You'll never be able to connect with. Well, I said, it's too late, sadly, to call her back and say, Grandma, tell us all this stuff.
Right.
That's the worst.
You just want to, and it's not there. You just don't have it at your fingertips. But that you can do for your grandchildren what your grandmother wasn't able to do for you.
Now, this is such a special and such an unusual program. Just for folks out there that are trying to get their head around it. Does someone call you and come to you and say, can you help me tell my story?
Sometimes, yes. That's one of the things.
How does this process engage and how does it start off? What happens if I were to come to you or if someone were to knock on your door or to send you an email and say, look, I'm not really sure I have a life story or what it's going to do to me to tell that story or for my kids or grandchildren. But help me out here. How do I get started? And Naomi? How do we get started? And what's the point?
Well, sure. One thing I want to emphasize that Deborah started to emphasize is a lot of people think their life is not interesting, is not special, and everyone's life is special. They are the only one who went through that journey. And everyone needs to know that you are the only one who went through your life journey. Your life story is unique because it's yours. And that's something that's really important that we tell everybody. And when people come to us, we have workshops. We do one-on-one services and coaching services to really help them connect with their earliest memories.
To get in touch with their story and to get it out.
To get it out, and we have different exercises that we use to get them to get in touch with their earliest stories.
And do they actually when it's called Life Journey Books. Now, folks are sitting at home saying, well, wait a minute, if I get involved in this program, do I end up writing a book about my life?
Yes, you can write a book about your life. It depends by how much detail you want to go into. If you come to one of our boot camps, you'll end up writing lots of stories about different parts of your life. And then if you want to sew them together into a full-length memoir, we can help you do that too.
It's fascinating, and I can envision that, again, like you pointed out a few moments ago, a grandchild, a daughter, long after Grandma's gone, can sit and really enjoy the experience that their grandmother went through, and it's so much a part of their life.
Exactly, and that's why sometimes the grandmother says, no, nobody cares, but the children will say, yes, we care. We want your story, Grandma. We want it now. So we often are dealing with the kids, the grown kids, who are saying to their parents, please do this for us.
Tell us your story.
No.
And a lot of times they have you have a child with this wacky sense of humor, and you say, where does this come from? And then you hear the story of your grandmother's life, and you find out, oh, her father had this crazy sense of humor. That's where it comes from.
Now tell me also about the healing effect that this has, the ability to transform, change people, and really heal them at very deep levels.
Well, one of the things that what happens is always amazing to people is that when you put your life in perspective, some things that were very painful to you, early memories that were just devastatingly difficult to get through, by going over them again, sometimes it's painful, but by going over them again, telling the story with the distance of the years behind you, what happens is that you end up with a lot more understanding, and then you end up sometimes forgiving things that 25, 30, 40, 50 years ago, you simply couldn't. You weren't in that position. But with the distance of time, you can. But one of the nicest surprises that comes at the end of this process, it's, sometimes the process is easy. Sometimes there's parts of it that are hard. But one of the greatest surprises is that when you go into this process, you typically do it for your family. You say, okay, I'm going to do it for the kids. I'm going to do it for the grandkids.
The kids are forcing you to do it.
Right, the kids are forcing you to do it. But then what happens at the end of it, you actually realize by writing out your stories and telling your stories that your life is not just a pile-up of random accidents. That your life is a soul journey that you've been on since the time you were born and before that. And that when you actually look back on it, whether you're looking back on it at the age of 60 or looking back on the age of 85, you can see that you're the same person at 5, that you were the same person at 5 that you are at 85. And that the same you who wouldn't let the bully push her friend around on the playground is the same you who wouldn't let the person in the next room at the assisted living home get pushed around by the aide. Like, no, you're not going to do that to my friend.
And this feels like a process where one can really make a major contribution to the definition of a family legacy.
Exactly. Yes, that's a great way to put it.
That's the way to put it. And one of the ways we help you do that is through our ethical will. So at the end of the process, you complete something called an ethical will, in which you actually express to your children and grandchildren, and you go ahead and file this with your will, with your lawyer. It's a formal document. And you're telling them, these are my principles. These are the values of my life. This is what means something to me. And a lot of times it's the first time that people of a certain age are ever able to put into words the deepest core values of their lives and the deepest meanings of their lives. And what they also do, which really helps, is that they'll say, gee, did you know I've been supporting this orphanage in Schenectady for the last 35 years because my grandfather was there in the 1870s or something? No, we didn't know that. So a lot of times what it does, it'll encourage and transmit the values of philanthropy to future generations. Gee, my grandmother always supported this orphanage. I'm going to continue it.
Wow.
It's good for everybody.
It's very powerful.
Now, I'm guessing that there's probably a good reason to believe that folks over the age of 50, over the age of 60, maybe even terminally ill people who have been given a certain death sentence or life sentence may want to finish their time out defining their lives, passing the legacy on. But what about a 25-year-old?
Yes, actually, the strangest thing is we had always anticipated that the senior citizens would be our greatest clientele for this. Yeah, because they have more of a sense of like, boy, what a life story behind them. But you're absolutely right, Mark. We've had requests from baby boomers who love to talk about ourselves, don't we? Nothing more interesting than we are to ourselves. And we've also had requests from people in their early 30s who say, gee, my childhood wasn't the easiest time I ever spent. I really would like to understand it better. Can you help me?
Want to process it.
So it really almost doesn't matter how old you are. We've actually had kids be able to write their earliest memories, and it's a lot of fun for the kids too.
Well, and I'm guessing that a 25-year-old can have an ongoing, longer story.
Well, that's we have something called the Pivotal Life Events timeline. And we call it the PLET. And what's great about it is you start putting in what you define as your pivotal life events. And we have found, as people go through our courses or as we work with people, they add things to the pivotal life events timeline that they didn't realize were pivotal. And then it suddenly becomes clear to them this was a pivotal life event, events that they didn't even realize. So it's very powerful.
Let's say your father gave you a violin for your 9th birthday.
Right.
It seemed like, it was a nice gift, thanks.
Right.
But then what happened is it got you into the orchestra, and you sat next to this little girl who had kind of red hair and freckles. you ended up marrying her. And it was just that violin gift that if you hadn't gotten it for your 9th birthday, you never would have met your future spouse. And so it says kind of things that, like Naomi says, you go back after you've written a bunch of these life stories and you fill in little more data points on your PLET.
Now, how long has Life Journey Books been going on for?
6 months.
I think longer.
So you came up with this concept, and how has it been received?
Pretty well.
Really fantastic.
Pretty well. People are just charmed by the idea that with sort of a disciplined way of looking back at your life and sort of exploring it step by step. We have, various chapters that we go through sort of chronological order, but then we also link back to family history. So by tying in your own personal history with your family history and with the times that you grew up in. For instance, people who grew up during the Depression talk a lot about what that was like, the deprivation and the fear of never knowing where their next meal was going to come from when they were children.
Right.
Huge, each one of us, whether we lived through World War II or lived through the Vietnam era, whatever historic era has influenced us, you can actually see it so much more clearly when you go back into the story of your life. I worked with one woman whose earliest memory was the last day of World War I.
Wow.
And she remembered going into the town hall, holding her grandfather's hand tightly and crying because the farmers this is somewhere in Idaho, were tearing down a papier-mâché statue of the Kaiser. And she was crying, Daddy, Daddy, they're hurting, Grandpa, they're hurting it. And he said, no, they're happy. This is the end of the war. That was her first memory. And we were able to take her back to that.
Astounding. And you certainly have workshops. You have a number of different ways folks can get in touch with Life Journey Books. Why don't you give the email address, the telephone numbers?
Sure. info@lifejourneybooks.com. So that's LIFEJOURNEYBOOKS.com. And our phone numbers are 617-775-2040 or 781-635-8617.
And we do have a workshop coming up July 19th. It's a Sunday morning in the Hampton Park. It's a little park next to the JCC in Newton. It's Sunday. It's a boot camp, so it's a nice intensive writing experience and get you started on your memoirs from 10 to noon, Sunday, July 19th. The address is 455 Nahanton Street, and it's reasonably priced at $25, and refreshments are served.
I was going to say scones and coffee.
There you go.
That's right. So we look forward to people contacting us, and we'd be happy to save them a spot.
So how much would people pay for that workshop?
$25.
$25.
Yes, for the 2-hour
they
workshop.
Can contact you in advance, or maybe
Absolutely.
Or maybe even register through the website or something.
Right,
like
absolutely.
And we
or show
encourage-
up if they don't get in touch with us.
Exactly. We encourage couples to do it together, maybe do it with a grown child, and make this a family project too.
Fantastic. And I can believe that an awful lot of healing experiences take place with these experiences.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how seeing your life in some kind of perspective gives you the insights you need to sort of, like I say, the forgiveness of not only yourself but others.
Well, there's so many, I was going to say a few moments back, there's so many sections of a given life that somebody may not want the family to know about.
That's
Right.
And they may need to negotiate and help themselves through the process by finding out how to somehow share it without sharing what they don't want to share.
Exactly.
So editing as you're deciding how you want to share the experience is all part of the healing, all part of the learning.
Exactly. And when you incorporate a lot of these things inside yourself, you're able to decide what of it, as you say, you want to share with others, and sort of like what values, you know, all of a sudden it comes into quite clear definition of the very values that drive your life from the moment you're born to all the way to the end.
And have you seen folks go through this transformation, and what kind of experience is that? What is that like for you?
Sometimes there's tears. You know, sometimes there's tears, and sometimes, you know, we end up crying too, because there's a lot of emotion that comes up, and then there's generally a great sense of peace and understanding.
Amazing. And also, email address is info@lifejourneybooks.com, right? info@lifejourneybooks.com. We're speaking with Naomi Grossman and Deb Feinblum Robb, and they're all about Life Journey Books, a remarkable, remarkable healing experience. So many of us really have more stories to tell than we're aware of. We have more depth, more sacredness, more passion in our lives, more wishes, hopes, and dreams than we ever really have the time to imagine or think about. So I think, you know, each one of us has an epic novel within us somewhere.
Exactly.
Remarkable stuff.
Now, you don't have to be a Dostoevsky to be able to write it. You just have to be able to be honest and know yourself a little bit.
We are going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with Life Journey Books. Stay right where you are.
This is Catherine from Jarrow Formulas. We're happy to have continued our relationship with Mark Mincola in the Health and Healing Show, and we're happy to announce a new product from Jarrow Formulas called Jarrow Cell. We all know that as the body ages, it heals less rapidly and becomes frailer. Often the body is unable to process enough nutrients to repair weakening cartilage and protein fibers. A very important element in building and repairing your body is silicon. But unfortunately, as we grow, you may have difficulty absorbing adequate silicon from your diet. But now, thanks to a product called Jarrow Cell, you can be sure to get your share. Jarrow Cell can give you the silicon you need to support your bone health, bone mineral density, and in addition, Jarrow Cell strengthens and beautifies your hair, skin, and nails. Jarrow Cell is available now in a synergistic liquid formula that also includes boron and zinc. Ask for Jarrow Cell at your local health food stores. Or for more information, you can go to the Jarrow website, which is www.jarrow.com.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health, proud sponsor of the Health and Healing Show. For 31 years, we've been helping the South Shore communities eat well, get healthy, and stay fit. Just remember, everything Dr. Mark recommends is available at remarkable savings at Good Health in Quincy Center and Route 53 in Hanover. One-stop shopping for the finest selection and best quality of food, supplements, and gifts. Thanks so much for listening.
Alrighty, welcome back in. Candida.
How are you?
We're going to start it off early this time. We're not going to conclude the segment with it. We're going to start it off live and direct.
Yay.
How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. I
Doing
just drove back 8 hours from Hershey Park. I brought the kids. We have a little tradition. As soon as they get out of school, we get in the car and we just go somewhere. So I surprised them. We went to Hershey Park.
Fun.
It was a lot of
Fun for the whole family.
Try to keep away from all that candy and junk
Yes,
down there.
indeed. Good luck.
Oh, they didn't have much. They were okay with it, too.
The rest of us parents look bad, but
So
They're like, Mom, water? I'm like, yep.
what is happening at Good Health Natural Foods these days?
Good Health Natural Foods. Well, their July flyer will be out July 1st till the 31st, and it's called Hot Days, Cool Deals.
I
love
like
it.
that.
Isn't that cool? And I just happen to have a little preview one here in front of me, but make sure you go down to Good Health, either in Quincy and in Hanover, and pick it up. They have a lot of great deals, especially with the 4th of July coming up. There's a lot of healthy options available for kids. You know, you don't have to do the hot dogs and the hamburgers and all that. They have, vegetarian burgers and turkey hot dogs and soy products and all that.
You can do it right. They probably have the mesquite charcoal down there.
That's true.
natural charcoal.
Natural charcoal. Yeah, tell us why we should use natural charcoal.
Well, obviously, there's a lot of pyrophosphates. There's a lot of very toxic aspects to most typical barbecuing. There's a lot of protein. Basically, without getting into the technicalities, a lot of the proteins, when you cook those proteins in such high pyrophosphate-driven flame like that, you create a lot of carcinogenic chemistries. So you increase the risk for cancer. You know, they say like one barbecued burger is like the equivalent of smoking 2,000 cigarettes or something like that. So you know...
You don't do much barbecue.
I don't do any. I do zippity-doo.
Yeah.
So, no, I know the average person's out there, oh, man, you killjoy you. But listen, I think all I'm saying is there's healthy ways to do things. Get on down to Good Health and take care of business.
That's right. They have the Stony Field Farm frozen yogurt or ice cream, all available flavors for $2.99 a pint, which is just the purest ingredients. And they have and it's really hard to find a mother, I know, treats in the summer that are cool to cool down. They're all filled with all these sweeteners and stuff. But they do have what's called cool fruits. They're freezer pops, and they're 99% all fruit juice. They contain no sugars whatsoever.
Fantastic.
So it's a nice healthy snack that you could give your kids. Also the blue chips made by Garden of Eden and virgin olive oil, all different wonderful things. I love those TLC cereal bars. We went down to Good Health before we went away on our trip. We just got lots of nice healthy treats for the ride, and it was great. My kids weren't all hypered up on the ride down. It was really fun. But check out their bulk items. They have a whole new supply coming in weekly. They package their own whole raw almonds and nut granola and all different nice, tasty treats for the beach.
And I know one of the things we're going to be talking about in a few minutes is we're going to be talking a little bit about Alzheimer's and how it relates to some of the life journey book stories, etc. One of the things I wanted to mention is that Good Health, of course, is fully loaded with all kinds of natural antioxidants and wonderful vitamins, minerals, etc. I call it the natural apothecary, natural pharmacy down there.
Right.
And really, they've got something called carnosine, L-carnosine. Of course, carnosine, C-A-R-N-O-S-I-N-E, carnosine, is a powerful antioxidant that actually neutralizes what's called glycation. Glycation, of course, is really genetically what causes Alzheimer's. They've also got EGCG down there, epigallocattic and gallate. And, of course, if you combine carnosine with EGCG, you're really fortifying one's brain chemistry in such a way that you can help really neutralize and antagonize some of those plaques. Remarkable research. UCLA, in conjunction with the Veterans Administration, recently did some studies regarding Alzheimer's and found that epigallocattic and gallate, the EGCG, such as we just talked about that Good Health has, is really capable of neutralizing those plaques in animal studies. So carnosine and EGCG for folks out there concerned about dealing with Alzheimer's in a natural, alternative manner. Good Health, of course, has all kinds of different natural supplements down there. Whenever we run into different areas of research that we really think is important to get a product, we contact Good Health. Of course, they're always accommodating to get out and pick up whatever we want them to pick up and make it available to you folks. So when we counsel you with your nutritional needs, you can always go to Good Health and take care of biz.
That's right.
And Good Health is located in 2 different locations. They're located at 1637 Hancock Street in Quincy. You can contact them at 617-773-4925 or 219 Columbia Road down in Hanover. That's Route 53 in Hanover. 781-826-0808. For all things natural, it is
Good Health Natural Foods.
It sure is.
Now, Diane and Ralph wanted to wish everybody a safe and healthy 4th of July.
Absolutely, and we second that.
Yes, absolutely. So go down and pick up some great deals that they have there, healthy, wholesome snacks.
And what are you doing for the 4th, Candida?
I'm not quite sure yet, actually. The 5th, I'm going to my in-laws, I know that. But for the 4th, I'm not quite sure. I'm going over to Mark Mancola's house.
Well, you're welcome to do that. I will not be there.
That's even better.
Well, whatever you do, have fun and enjoy the kids.
Sounds good. Thanks
Happy
so much.
4th. Thank you
Nice
so
show,
much.
ladies. Thank you.
We could make it together. The further from here, girl, the better. Where the air is fresh and clean.
Hi there, this is Mark Mincoll, the Natural Health and Healing Show. I know that so many of you out there are passionate about the latest cutting-edge nutritional information, would like to go on to that next level. I'm proud to announce that our new natural health care office in Cohasset are offering personalized nutritional consultations. At Santi Holistic Healing, you'll experience an informative, individualized nutritional consultation by one of my finest personally trained nutritional experts. Your consultant will test you for specific food allergies and supplements. Together, you will chart out a personalized, optimal nutritional roadmap that will detail your healthiest foods and nutritional supplements, even specific doses. If that's not enough, we also offer relaxing healing massage at Santi Holistic Healing. Whether it's nutritional consulting or healing massage that you're interested in, we at Santi Holistic Healing are prepared to give you the healing experience of a lifetime. Call us at 781-383-3393. That's 781-383-3393 for the healing experience of a lifetime. Interested in real weight loss? I'd like to recommend a 3-week group weight loss program that combines nutrition with Christine Mealy, hypnosis with Mona Corvels-Cusick, and personal training with Doug Bennett of the Body Studio. This will begin the week of July 6th and run for 3 weeks. Each week you receive a 2-hour combination of hypnosis and nutrition. That's Tuesday evenings from 6:30 to 8:30. 2 45-minute sessions of personal training. That's Tuesdays and Thursdays. Your choice of mornings or evenings with exercise suggested for that week. You will also receive a 4th bonus week of personal training, a free 1-month membership to the Body Studio, a free TheraBand, a complimentary 1-hour massage at Santi Holistic Healing for the person who loses the most weight. All of this for only $320. Let us help you reach out and get your goals attained. Space is limited, so call us at Santi to reserve your spot, 781-383-3393. That's 781-383-3393. Alrighty, welcome back. And we've been discussing life journey books because there's a book in everybody's life out there. And we've been talking with Naomi Grossman and Deb Feinblum-Raub. And God, you guys are really great. I'm telling you, remarkable vision that you had for this process. But, during that last little commercial break, we spoke about Alzheimer's for a moment or two. And I know when we were off the air a few minutes ago, you mentioned something really interesting that I'd like you to share with the listening audience.
Sure. The telling of life stories is something that we all feel like we can always do. Oh, I can go back, I can remember this or that. But sometimes there comes a point in people's lives when they develop a condition like Alzheimer's where memory starts to go a little bit from where it was. And it's a slow process. And those of you who have lived through it know that it's a slow and painful process for the families to observe and for the person who's going through it. But what happens is when somebody does get a diagnosis like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or one of the other sort of diseases that take its time and take its toll on the mental processes, that the sort of urgency of telling the life story becomes even more dramatic. And the things that your parents or grandparents will remember now and be able to still put their fingers on will be unfortunately unavailable to them or to you within a period of 6 months, a year and a half, however long it takes for the memory to sort of fade in great proportion.
It says on the bottom of your business card, some things just can't wait.
Right, exactly. And that's when people say, gee, these are recessionary times. How are you going to get people to tell their life stories in times of recession? And we say, because some things just can't wait. You can't say, well, we don't have time to tell these life stories. How many people have come up to us and said, oh, if I had known about you 3 or 4 years ago when my father was alive or when my grandmother was alive.
And that's why I asked you to come in to do this broadcast, because this is such a remarkably powerful concept. I know that my grandmother, who was from Italy, was somebody whose grandmother doesn't mean so much, to them. I mean, my grandmother meant so much to me. And when I was a kid growing up, whenever my parents would go away for a week on vacation or even a Saturday night out to dinner, I'd always be with my grandmother. And I would always just be enraptured with her stories. What was the old country like? And what were the people like? And
it was another world.
What was
they took
life
it another
like?
world.
And it was just so fascinating to me. And I so wish I had her story in a book form right now. I think I'd read it forever and always.
Exactly.
And I think what a remarkable gift, because as we age, I think so many of us love to share our stories. And as we, when you think on either end of that spectrum, when we're growing up, we love to hear them, and as we get older, we love to tell them.
Exactly.
So, this would be a tremendous gift, I would think, for someone to think that, maybe as their parent is aging, to get mom or dad over there to the workshop and to start the process of really clearing some ground and writing their life story, telling the stories that are so powerful and so important to them and will be important for generations after they complete this work.
Exactly.
It's a gift to your mom and dad also, because when they go through this process, they're transformed.
Well, Naomi, I'd like to ask you too, there is a process. You use the word process, and I want to know how you help people to get over the hurdles and to help them connect with their deepest memories. What exactly, like if someone brings their mother, their aging mother, aging father to the workshop, it's the 19th?
The 19th of July.
The 19th of July. What can they expect to get from you to help them get through this process and to get started and to tell their deepest and their most powerful stories?
Well, what we have are exercises that really excavate really their deepest memories. And I think Deborah would like to do we do guided meditation to really get them to connect with these memories that are in there, that they just haven't thought about. And do you want to start with...
Can you give us a 3-minute sample of what that would be like?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
What we have is, and you can all close your eyes out there, we are walking through woods. It's a long, dark trail, but there's some sun that's coming down through the trees and sort of flashing on the trail in front of you, so it's not frightening. It's actually a very beautiful day, and it's warm and sunny, and you're feeling good, and you're walking along in this beautiful forest, and you're all alone, or you think you're all alone, because there in the distance, you see, at a very great distance, a tiny figure coming towards you. It's so far away that you can almost not even make it out, but you know it's a person, and you see that it's getting larger and larger. You're going towards the figure, and the figure is coming towards you. And as it gets a little bit closer, you can make out that it's the figure of a child. You're trying to think about. This child is seemingly walking in a familiar way. Something very familiar about the way this child is walking towards you. Then the child is getting closer, and you're getting closer, and the sun is shining, and the birds are singing, and suddenly you realize, as the child gets even closer to you, that child is you. That child is the 10-year-old you. And when you take a look at that child's face, and you see the face that you had so many years ago, and the hopes and the fears and the dreams and the feelings that child was all about, that you were all about, and you recognize in the child all the dreams you had and all the hopes you had, and you start to understand that child better, and that part of you that's still that child, that still resonates with that little kid who's walking towards you. And as you pass each other, you smile at the child, and the child smiles at you, and eventually you begin to understand so much more about who you are now and how that child has, over the years, become the person you are now. And you begin to sort of forgive and understand a lot of the things that the child had to go through to become the person you are now, and the potential for everything good and all the dreams that child has that's still available to you, even at your stage of life.
Oh, that was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. In Chinese medicine, the essence of healing is opening energy up so that it can flow. And all I can tell you is that you can open up a tremendous amount of energy for flowing life force with an exercise like that.
Yeah.
So it gets things moving, does it not?
It does get things moving. And when you sort of deal with the sort of different stages of your life, some of the things you did that you wish you didn't have to do, some of the things you did that you knew you had to do. We've talked to people who had situations where they've been through divorce, and that was not what they wanted when they set out to get married. And yet they can, when they have this sort of distance where they look back and see the marriage as it was formed, and and the troubles that came up, and the necessity for the divorce, and the wisdom of it. And it helps a lot in terms of understanding the decisions you've made in the past, and also sometimes understanding the decisions your parents have made. So many of us have lived with the legacy of troubles that our parents had and dealt with it the best we could. But sometimes when we get to see them also as individuals who were struggling, who did the best they could in often very difficult circumstances, there's just a whole lot of forgiveness that goes on in every direction.
Now, I'm going to ask a tough question. Would you say that you would have noticed in your work that the biggest hurdle is shame?
It's interesting. There's definitely a lot of that because the things that we're
self-censoring.
Right?
Yeah.
We hide them. We try to pretend they never existed. So you're right that once you're able to sort of face some of those decisions you made and some of the difficulties and give yourself a little more understanding and sympathy and
forgiving. I think forgiving yourself and understanding and connecting.
Or forgiving another, perhaps. Like you were saying, this really unearths the depths of the inner world. I think so many of us really get caught in the flow of the outer world. We're drawn out into the outer world. I know that, I've got a 16-year-old daughter, and I'm watching the outer world just call her, just vacuum her out.
Exactly.
And I'm remembering back to when the world did that to me, and I've had to come back as I developed some wisdom in my later years. I'd have to fight my way out of that and really sort of reconnect with the inner world and the inner voice. And I think a program such as Life Journey Books seems to be a perfectly natural support system for people trying to get back in touch with that inner life.
Exactly. And if you think about it, your children or grandchildren, even though they're being raised in very different times of history than you are being raised, there's something very familiar to you as you see your teenage daughter going through this, or as we sometimes watch our grandchildren go through these experiences, that even though their life, their time of history, and maybe even the place that they're growing up is totally different than yours, the stages of their lives, and as you say, the world coming into their lives, and it's very much more similar. So when you get back in touch with your own childhood and your own adolescence, it brings you closer to the people you love who are in those stages now.
Now, talk to us too about the photo journey book and the DVD and all that business. There's a lot of interesting sides to this.
And we also wanted to mention in the workshops and in the boot camps and in the one-on-one coaching, we also encourage people who are writing down their life stories to include any mementos or photos or documents, anything that they feel will enrich their story and enrich their story for their children and grandchildren or their loved ones. Sometimes it's not necessarily.
Sure, these are the illustrations to the novel.
Right, exactly.
And we have prompts and props. So it's also, if you are holding in your hand your library card from when you were in 4th grade, all of a sudden you're back in that library again, reading, Nancy Drew, and you're remembering what that was like. And so just having that, or having the prize
music,
the music is such a powerful,
But as it says here in the piece that you handed me a moment ago, the adventure continues with Life Journey Books' unique products, from a beautifully bound volume to a photo journey book to a personalized DVD to be passed on as a permanent family heirloom for generations to come.
So we can really...
That's magnificent.
Yeah, we can really do this in any format that people want. And some people like a photo journey book, which essentially uses the photos to help tell the stories. And some people find that more interesting, easier to do, and we can facilitate that as well. Some people want their memories, their life stories on the DVD, and we can do that in any format that they are most comfortable with.
So, what was your inspiration, both of you?
Well, we're both writers and editors ourselves, and so we have a little bit of a sense of
I knew there was an editor involved.
In fact, we're about ready to edit.
I could tell editors from a mile away.
That red pen.
After 4 books, I could feel the vibration of an editor.
We were hoping we were hiding it.
Not well.
So what inspired you?
So the inspiration for us, I think, is by realizing that the written word isn't just, for journalism, which is what the world we come out of, or for public relations, something else we've done, but it's really for telling those stories, the power, as you were saying, saying, Mark, the power of stories to transform anybody from to take anybody where they need to go is it's very, very strong. And when those stories are part of yourself, you were talking about your relationship with your grandmother, and to realize that she is connected to you, in life or in death, that she's still connected so strongly to who you are, and it's probably smiling at you right now, that connection between you and the people who came before you, and your brothers and sisters with whom you shared your childhood, and certainly your own children and grandchildren. But those powerful connections are to be treasured and to be explored, and sometimes, yes, to be forgiven as well.
But the love and the life goes on and on and on with Life Journey books. To have the DVD of grandmother or self for grandchild, to have the hardbound book, to have the story defined, to have the mementos, to have all of that information all together, so that the life and the love just goes on and on and on. It's a very powerful vision.
Exactly. And when people say to us, gee, my grandchild is 14, they couldn't care less, they're not at all interested in me.
The world is pulling them out the door.
Exactly. And we always say, give them 10 years. Because when they're 24, they are going to care. They're going to be interested. They're going to be mature enough to understand the connection that links the two of you for eternity. And that now we can help you be able to tell your story. So when they're ready, it's ready for them.
Fantastic. What do you think most folks really like best about this whole concept? In other words, the idea that they can stay in touch with their grandmother, their grandfather, a loved one that left earlier in an untimely fashion. Thank God we have their story, et cetera, et cetera. But what do you think is the most, what do you hear feedback-wise from folks?
Well, I think what Deborah was saying before is a lot of people come in because their children or their grandchildren want them to tell their story. And the best surprise is they realize what it does to them, how it transforms themselves. And I think that's the most powerful part.
I can tell you right now, if my grandmother was alive, she'd be in the car tomorrow, no questions asked. I'd be parading her right down.
We would love to hear that story.
Yeah, right?
Well,
she sounded like she had great stories.
No, she had wonderful stories, and I think most folks do out there.
Yeah. Everyone has a story.
And, the other thing that I think is important to mention here is, the whole future shock concept, the idea that 10 years of passing time nowadays is nothing like 10 years of passing time 60, 100 years ago. So time is moving so rapidly. The culture is shifting. The way we live, our belief systems, our mores, our values, our concepts, our dreams, everything is changing so rapidly these days that I think it's even more important that we slow life down from time to time. And I think this is a great way to slow life down and to really sort of freeze it.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So we say that documenting and preserving, those are the two keys. You document and you preserve for the future generations, even as you're getting the understanding and the insight yourself.
For yourself.
Into your own soul journey.
So if someone is bringing a parent or grandparent or driving themselves down to visit with you gals and trying to get this process underway and has a vision about having a DVD and a photo journey book, a bound book about their life story, how much does it cost? How long does it take? What do they do?
We have various different packages different budgets. We have different packages to go with different budgets that are to represent different amounts of time that we would spend with them. Some things for younger people who are more comfortable with writing their stories, they can do a lot of it on their own or with a friend or family member. Other people who are really needing to tell the stories, we're there to do that with our tape recorders and our good questions as an hourly rate. So it really depends.
So you
on what
customize this somewhat.
Absolutely, because everyone's unique.
And does that account for a sliding scale of some sort, or is there a set fee for this kind of work?
It really slides in terms of like what the person wants and how many hours it's going to take us to do, and how independent the person is about telling their stories and how much encouragement and help they need.
And, of course, folks who are interested, why don't you give that email address and the phone numbers again?
Sure. It's info@lifejourneybooks.com. So, as Naomi was saying, it's LIFEJOURNEY. JOURNEY. Let's get that right. BOOKS.com. And the phone numbers are also easy to call. They're 781 635 is her number.
8617.
And 617-775-2040.
And obviously, you can find out information by taking a peek at the website.
Absolutely.
And folks can mention that July 19th workshop.
Absolutely. It's in Newton. It's in the Nahantan State Park, or Nahantan Park. It's part of the Newton Park system at 455 Nahantan Street in Newton Center, right near the JCC, if everybody knows where the JCC is in Newton, not too far from Needham. And it's 10 to noon on Sunday, July 19th. We provide the scones and the coffee. And you come with your life stories, and the fee is $25.
Fantastic. So, folks, anybody interested in life journey books, how could you not be? Especially, again, if you're thinking about the posterity of the future, you're thinking about your own life that you'd like to share with future generations, or perhaps if you have a mom or a dad, someone who is aging and, God forbid, who is ill. I think the bottom of your business card says it all. Some things just can't wait, and this is a great, great program. No question about the fact that this kind of thing should be an institution in this country right now, because time's moving on. We're losing our connections with each other within the family environment. So this is a great way to pull everything back together and to really sort of freeze it for history, for posterity. Remarkable stuff. Any final words you'd like to share with everybody?
We just encourage everybody to tell their stories and tell the stories and write them down and record them. If we can help you, we will. And just make it a point to do it every day. Sit down and spend 15, 20 minutes every day, and you'll be amazed at the kind of things that you can remember.
And you?
I want to echo what Deborah said. I agree with her, but I also want people to know that this is a transformative experience for them, for their children, for their grandchildren, and we would love to be part of it.
Thank you, Naomi Grossman. Thank you, Deborah Feinblum-Robb. And thank you both for Life Journey Books. I think it's a remarkable, remarkable program. And I think so many people have so much to benefit from this process, personally, spiritually, bringing a family and bringing a self together. So thank you both. I'd love to have you guys back at some point in the future.
Okay, maybe we'll bring some excerpts.
Oh, I'd love to have some. I would love to have some stories coming back. And a couple program notes here. Dr. Julie Johnson, of course, will be up next, so stay tuned for her. This past week, I did my New England Cable News segment a little bit early. We did it at 9:15. That was only because there was a cooking segment on New England Cable News this week. And this coming week, of course, will be on 9:45 again. So remember, 9:45, 10:45, 11:45, you will see You Are What You Eat. And that segment, of course, is live at 9:45. And, of course, you can view this in podcast form, as you can each and every Sunday, on our website, www.maxhealing.com. So make sure you check out this interesting podcast, www.maxhealing.com. And that's, of course, with all the help that we get from Adam Ing, who is the webmeister and the gentleman who helps us with all of our tech work. And he is a really great support to the Natural Health and Healing Program. Until next Sunday, this is Mark Mincola reminding you all, please be wise, be aware, be well. Make it a healthy week. Good night.
Thank you for joining Mark Mincola for the Natural Health and Healing Show. Call Mark each Sunday evening